Hello, this is the LEGO Ninjago Legacy set called Kai's Blade Cycle and Zane's Snowmobile. This features redesigned versions of two vehicles that were originally released in two separate sets back in 2012. They put them together into one, and what do you know? Another Ninjago oversized motorcycle versus oversized motorcycle set. First, let's check out Kai's Blade Cycle here. As I was building this, I did not remember what the action or transformative feature was on the original version of this. And so when I completed the construction of it, at least on one side, I was very pleasantly surprised to see how it actually works. Looking at this from the top, it's the best place to look at it. It opens up into this X pattern with the blades sticking out. So it really opens up quite a bit. And you just squeeze the things back together. Let's see if I can do it from underneath, hopefully, to make that a little bit more obvious to you. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's independent from side to side, but it looks pretty nice. I think that overall the bike looks pretty good with some good contrast. It does rely on some stickers for its appearance, but I like its look. I think the stickers are good. I like the fact that it's not just all red like the 2012 version kind of was. You know, this has a little bit more going for it. Feels like the fire is imbued into it a bit more. Fully open rear tire there, almost fully open front. Things get in nice and close right there. I don't know, it just makes it feel a little bit more carefully designed for some reason. I don't like the white pieces in there, and I also don't like the light gray back here, but otherwise I think the color scheme works out pretty well. Lots of gold, semi-pneumatic tires that allow this to go over terrain decently well. And of course it always stands up on its own because these are so wide. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is for this. You know, it's not intended to be something too huge or fantastic, but I think it does a fine job of being what it is. It has no stud shooters on it. That's a surprise to me. I would have expected them to integrate some of those into something like this today. Yeah, that's that. Zane does get the stud shooters on his reimagined snowmobile here, and those get the action feature for this build. You know, this one doesn't have any real transformative features. Instead, you just have these things on the sides, these little pods that can be moved forward and back to allow you to kind of remotely fire off these stud shooters down here. It just pushes against the trigger, so you can do it from back here rather than pushing down there. Really not a great use of a whole lot of pieces, in my personal opinion, to get such a simple action in there. You could easily just reach down and just push the trigger. He stands up back here, and this has one low profile tire at the back, and then up at the front it just has this skid. It's able to rotate around, which is good. It's able to go up and down, which is good. Makes sense for, you know, going on actual snowy terrain. Doesn't make sense to be racing against this on streets and such. Just personal opinion. I know that as a kid, I personally would have been bugged by that, especially if I knew how snowmobiles worked, which I think I did. Yeah, especially if I knew how bad it is to run a snowmobile on a hard surface for a long time. Now, at least this does have a wheel, so at least you don't have a track that's going to get overheated. I'm definitely overthinking it, but it's all just to say that this doesn't satisfy me personally. Does it satisfy you when you look at it? Let me know down in the comments. I think that it feels a bit jumbled. I think it feels a bit too abstract. I think that for a snow scene, it's cool. Not sure about the tire though. Would have preferred something a little bit rounder. Doesn't need a track necessarily. I think the shaping here is pretty good, but the colors do weird things, and I don't particularly like the stickers on this one either. My favorite part of this is this back here. The original did have this piece, but it was in a transparent medium blue, a kind of rare color. Had a couple of them. Got a couple of the trans light blue pieces down underneath here. Nice to get those dragon head hilt pieces on this. Of course, you got the golden, the shurikens of ice there built into the vehicle, of course. And that's pretty much all there is for this one. I guess he kind of gets a console there with that sticker. But yeah, interesting build. I'm personally not that happy with the end result, the finished, completed model. For the side builds, you get this very nice street lamp post, which is extended much taller than these usually are. It has the small sign on the side, got the red lamp up at the top. That looks very good to me. Comes with a chain that can be used to create a trap of some sort. I'm assuming this is a venom-infused trap, but it can also be used to set off a bit of dynamite over here on the side. So as one of the good guys comes by on their bike, then this is supposed to explode. So got a little broken up sign there, a little bit of dynamite or TNT. And then you also get a small shrine or pedestal for one of the golden weapons. So there's the sword of fire in place. Turn that into a motorcycle, turn it into an aircraft, turn it into whatever you want, turn it into a dragon. These macaroni pieces back here are strange. I don't know why they put those on there. I don't remember what exactly this was supposed to represent, but yeah, you get some pipe pieces there. They're basically just bonuses. Use them for something else. Add them to something else, I guess. This is, not a great looking thing overall, but some nice extra pieces, I suppose. And that brings us to the minifigures already. So Kai and Zane in their legacy outfits, the DX inspired gi. They don't have any extra weapons or accessories to go with them here because you just pull accessories off the bikes. There are plenty of katanas on the bikes and the shurikens and plenty of other things that you can use to form their weapons when you need. Plus you also have the sword of fire included in the set. I think that both of these figures look just fine. I'm still continuing to slowly warm to the shaping of these cowl pieces that are for the Legacy series, but they're still definitely not my favorites. And looking at their faces, nothing unexpected there. You do get two options or two expressions for each. And then for bad guys, here's Lasha on the left and Spitta on the right, both using their original head molds, specialized head molds, with Lasha having an actual minifig head visible right there, and Spitta not having one because it's all just custom molded. And they do share prints for the hip and leg pieces, and the overall designs for their torsos are rather different from their original designs. I think the prints are done well, including the prints that are on the heads for these, on the tops of those heads. Pretty crisp and with plenty of opacity, not too much bleed through. And there's Lasha's print on the back of the torso. It was partially obscured before. Set also comes with one of these new for 2019 buildable handle armatures with the spinning end. So that uses a couple of new molds for the end there, plus an existing tire piece to allow you to do this. So you just run that across the ground, and the idea here, let me see if I can actually demonstrate it, is to put a figure on this with a weapon. And I'm not even going to bother to angle it just properly, as long as it's sticking out. That's all it's really important. And you should be able to just run by the bad guys and do like that. Very satisfying, actually. Works very well. I would value this set at, I would give it $15 for Kai's cycle, and then $10 for, $10 at most for Zane's cycle with the figure, and then $5 for all the rest of the stuff, including the two bad guy figures. So $30 US, I think, is the most that I could give this, even though it has 376 pieces. And what do you know? They priced this at $30 US. So I think the value is there. Do you want to buy it though? That's another story. Whether objectively it's priced fairly or not, it's kind of its own thing. I personally don't find much here that's exciting. I think that Kai's bike is done really well, and my favorite thing is that street lamp. The figures are fine, but they're not great. To me, the Snowmobile for Zane really just pulls down the value for this. Also, to me, for some reason, this just doesn't add. It's definitely good to get the Sword of Fire, but as far as how this looks, I actually get a little bit more excited by the sign and the little crate back there for the dynamite. I don't know. Yeah, I just can't really get excited about this set. In general, it'll work for some folks. For others, it won't. But now you've seen all that it comes with, except for the spare pieces, of which there are plenty, which is great, including extra golden weapons and a couple of completely hollow lime green stud pieces. And they also have, of course, a couple extra studs for the stud shooter for Zane's snowmobile. But that's it. If you want to see the rest of the parts other than these being built into this set, you can check out my build video, which I will link to right now, and I'll talk to you again soon.